Welcome to Spaces. UConn 76, Michigan State 69. Nice. What an exhibit we got tonight at the People's Arena in downtown Hartford. UConn moves to a flawless, perfect, pristine, immaculate 2-0 in preseason play. And we're on to New Haven next to open up the season here on Monday. We're going to get into the game and everything that entailed. All 556,000 fouls that we got to sit through tonight.
So many fouls. It was so many fouls.
So many fouls.
Oh, God, so many fouls.
But I think we should probably start with maybe the most egregious foul of them all this week.
That's how you want to present this? Okay.
I guess so.
Sure.
You can decide who's at fault for this. But yeah, obviously, I tweeted earlier today, guys, and alluded to it a little bit earlier this week. That the crew here, the two of us, our Fortune 500 company here at Connecticut Basketball Spaces, well, we have
a
a
registered limited liability corporation in the state of Delaware.
We could still do that.
We probably should.
Probably should. But the big announcement, guys, is that we will be kind of moving in, maybe not moving to, but partnering with Store Central here, heading forward as the official post-game audio show for Store Central. We will be partnering with them to do a variety of things. I don't want to get too crazy into a billion and one details, but started having these conversations a couple months ago. And Hurley Mania and I have been kind of talking about, sort of the future of the show, some things that we've wanted to do. And have had a lot of conversations about improving the production value, improving the opportunities and the places for folks to be able to listen in before, during, after games. And we're going to be partnering up with Store Central. And so what's that going to look like for everybody that is listening here? Exactly the same. We're going to be doing the show on Twitter. It's going to be for free. You don't got to pay for it. But we're going to be doing, we're going to still have Spotify. So if you want to download the show and subject yourself to this a second time, nobody's going to get in your way. So you're going to get pretty much everything that you've already been getting. However,
I want to make this easier for the boneyard types. The show is not going behind a paywall. The show is not going behind a paywall. The show is not going behind a paywall. The show is not, going behind a paywall. So I hope we made it clear the show isn't going behind a paywall. It's not changing. We're just working with Store Central. We're also not taking NIL away from Alex Caravan. That's not how it's working either. This is just us trying to transition to something that's a little broader, a broader reach. Although we love everyone who's here or listening. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is, there'll be a couple things behind the paywall, but we're working on some extra bonus content. I think the thing that's probably going to be most relevant for all of you folks is we're going to be dabbling in a couple of different social media channels with Store Central, so you'll be able to, we're in the process of putting a couple things together, but see the show on YouTube. We are in conversations to have some live broadcasts, maybe either post-game, maybe pre-game. We're also going to be putting some interesting content together, maybe some long-form stuff with the UConn men's program. Some of that may be behind a paywall, but all that stuff's going to be really cool, fun, worth it, worth your time and money kind of stuff. We're really excited about what this is going to look like. We're going to be sort of rolling out the gory details, I guess you could say, here in the next couple of weeks in terms of, more specifically what that content is going to look like, where you guys can find it, and all that good stuff. But the long and the short of it is you will have more Connecticut basketball spaces if that is something that you sickos decide that you need more of in your life. So that's what we're going to be doing.
And the short of it is if this show stays the way it is, so we would love you to participate in the other stuff, but this show gets to be the way it is. To which I said to them, really? And they said, yes, we love it. And I said, really? Okay. So yeah, it's been great partnering up with them, and it's a chance for us kind of to help out the program because we know what Source Central does is so important, especially on the NIL front. And we want to put some stuff together that's worth everybody's time and money, because I know none of us are millionaires here, and money is a finite resource. I want to make something really that's worth people's time and money, and we want that as well for this show. It's worth what you pay for it. No, we actually try and do a lot with this show too. So appreciate everybody who's gotten us to this point. It's not just the two of us. If we're just shouting into the void, nobody cares. And I appreciate the people that listen every night, or whether live or sitting in bed to fall asleep, or listening after the fact on Spotify or Apple. It means a lot to us. So we're just thrilled we get to go on year 4 with all you guys doing this and branch it out, a little bit.
Yeah, and I think one of the advantages to this, we'll still try to maintain some of the jankiness. I think that's part of the appeal of the show. But there may be a possibility that we actually may come off. The show might be a little bit more polished. All right, we're going to be planning on trying to install a couple more promotions for you guys, things that people can interact with. Long and the short of it is we've built a really great community here. We want to bridge that gap with Store Central in a way that we can help them out. They're helping us out. And we're going to bring everybody along for the ride. So really looking forward to it. We'll have more details here next week or two as to specifically what things are going to be looking at. But if anybody has any twisted content ideas, our direct messages are open. I mean, I would hate for somebody to suggest that maybe we should lock Hurley Mania in a very tiny office with Alex Caravan and make him read his tweets. Would hate that. Nobody would want to hear that. Nobody would want to listen to that. No, so nothing like that.
No, and as you alluded to, there will be a YouTube component. So if you thought it was weird enough going to bed listening to us, imagine going to bed looking at us. That
disgusting. May be in your future, folks. Who doesn't want to watch me mow down an entire bag of carrots live at 1:00 in the morning?
We just have to have a little counter in the corner, just counting the carrots.
We could do that. But that's enough of that. I think we covered it. So.
And thank you for everybody for supporting. As I said, we'll be working with Store Central, but that's enough of that. The real reason everyone's here and the reason why we are starting this show at 11:15 at night is because for 2.5 hours tonight in downtown Hartford, something occurred.
We got an exhibit.
No, we did.
We got to see something that I think we could all agree probably does belong in a museum.
Yeah, either you should be charged $1,000 to enter that museum or 10 cents. I don't think there's really an in between. The thing I'm trying to remember, especially with the BC game too, is that while the idea of exhibitions against like other real programs is kind of a new thing for college basketball, try and keep in mind, like, nobody cares about NHL preseason, nobody cares about NBA preseason, nobody cares about spring training, nobody really cares about the NFL preseason. So I'm trying to keep it with a grain of salt, and it's October friggin' 28th. But boy, was a lot of that as an entertainment thing really unwatchable tonight. And I'm not like worried about it. I turned to Hoffball's 2 minutes and I said, you know why these are great? Because if it's something you can just complain about. You can just find a thing to complain about, even though the game, its value is really probably pretty low. I thought UConn played well for a large part of it. I think that I'm not worried about many things, but there was one kind of like skeleton in the closet last year with this team was they foul a lot. And as crazy as the foul total was tonight, and it was fucking insane, they still foul a lot. And it's going to be probably an issue they're going to have to work through. And tonight they got to face what's going to end up, what I don't know how, somehow that team's going to be in the second weekend because they always are. And UConn tonight, I thought the offense moved pretty well, but defensively, it's the fouls are still an issue. But God above, did we have to call 56 of them? Did we have to call 56?
Yeah, I mean, Izzo was talking about it after the game. Dan
Yeah.
talked about it after the game. Like, this is what these new rules are going to be like. This is not going to be watchable this year. And their whistle wasn't great either. This isn't like a whatever, but like we're going to get to a point where we're calling everything. And Dan mentioned it specifically. Izzo alluded to it without directly saying it. But like, if every time a guy goes to the basket and just flings his head back, we're going to call a foul. I mean, I don't know if that's something that anybody really wants to watch. That was pretty brutal tonight. I was kind of surprised they were as on the whistle as they were tonight, it being an exhibition. Exhibitions usually end up being kind of more, WWE battle royals, and they kind of let things go a little bit more. Definitely probably could have gone without, what was it, 5 fouls in the last 2 minutes of the game. I felt like everybody kind of got the picture,
Yeah, we're good. We got it.
It's just crazy. I mean, and I'm not, I'm not going to look at, get into it here in a second. I mean, we foul too much. That's really obvious. It's early in the season. That's going to be a thing. I think Dan Hurley teams will always foul a lot. I think that is baked in to the cake. But tonight was wild. Tonight was wild. There was just no reason to blow that many whistles. How long were we in that building for? 2 hours and 45 minutes?
2:27, and that was with a quick last 5 minutes.
Whew. So I tweeted it. It felt like we were being held hostage the last 5 minutes.
UConn in the 2 exhibition games against Boston College, a Division III program, and Michigan State, was whistled for 54 fouls.
It's a lot of fouls.
It's a lot. It's a hard sell. The first half 16. I mean, just nuts. And it was the game had. I'm not expecting a lot of flow for game in October where both coaches are openly just cycling through lineups to put stuff on tape and see how stuff looks. But holy hell, like the number of consecutive trips without a whistle, I think maxed out at 3 in the first half at one point. And it just made it very difficult. I mean, the first half, I'll say that UConn defensively, when they aren't committing a foul, the team looks much better. And
yeah, but I thought they got a lot of soft whistles tonight. They still do foul too much, but sounds weird to say, I like the fouls this year. Last year was them fouling guys getting blown out of their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
This was being more like competitive, on the ball, trying to muck shit up. Needs to be cleaned up. They need to get a lot more disciplined. But this wasn't a lot of the blow by, saloon door, hitting you in the ass kind of fouls that we saw tonight. And just overall, the switching was outstanding tonight. Yeah. The effort, the hustle was outstanding tonight, particularly for an exhibition game. So I liked a lot of what I saw, on the defensive side of the ball. Also with Reed being out of the game tonight, obviously they struggle a little bit on the boards, particularly in the second half. It was not pretty on the glass. But all things considered, that small lineup gave Michigan State fits tonight. And I walked away, I guess my biggest thought outside of the fouls tonight was how impressed I was with the overall depth of the team. And it's not just like depth, like it's legitimately quality depth. We basically, I would say, strong-armed that team for the better part of 40 minutes. I never really felt like they ever felt real game pressure at any particular point during the game. And they did that without their starting center, without Braylon Mullins, who might be their best scorer, potentially, and with Silas on the bench in foul trouble almost immediately, and Ryba on the bench in foul trouble almost immediately. With essentially, a player from Lemoyne, who was at Lemoyne last year, and Indiana at I fuck this up all the time.
He will always be IUPUI. I do not
IUPUI. I can do that. MISSIPPI I can do. IUIPPI, I don't fucking care. So I was very impressed. And look, I kind of came away with it looking at Croman. I don't want to go too crazy here, but I feel like if they got into a point where you had, God forbid, you had sort of a scenario like you did with Donovan 2 years ago, where a starter goes down for an extended period of time at 2 weeks, at 3 weeks. I'm pretty comfortable with him as a backup big in the Big East. He rebounds the shit out of the ball. He fouls too much, way too much. Yeah. But it is very Samson Johnson-esque in the sense that he's mobile, he can move around, he can get up and down the court well, and he rebounds the fucking shit out of the basketball, which I really liked. Melander, you were talking about it tonight, probably the slowest release I've seen on a UConn player in a long time, but he can knock him down. Deceptively strong on the ball for a guy his size. And again, as a depth piece, do I think these guys are going to be guys that are going to be significant contributors? No, but couple injuries go down, I'm not going to be sitting there sweating it. I mean, those guys showed me a lot. These last 2 games, I was very impressed with what I saw. And the depth on this team is a totally different zip code from what they had last year. And I thought it really showed up and showed out when they were able to go small tonight. And I think their athleticism, with that group, is just going to be a totally different look that they're going to be able to give teams.
Yeah. And with Alec and Dwayne, you're talking about the 12 and 13 on the roster. You're looking for, if you can find somebody at that spot that does one thing exceptionally well, the other stuff isn't good, but it's 12 or 13 on the roster, man. And so I love that they found somebody in Alec who's a great 3-point shooter. It's a really, really, really long release, but he's now playing on a team where they can run enough actions to maybe give him the time to get that thing off. We'll see. But even more so, Dwayne Carome is just, his positioning for rebounds, it stands out. And I think it partially stands out because they're missing Terrace Reed, and Eric Ryba, who's looked good, also is a freshman physically wise. His positioning, he's going to get bodied around a little bit, especially against a team like Michigan State. Dwayne Carome was just getting in good positions tonight, and if that's his one standout skill, that's a skill that none of us knew he had because you're not. Look, I'm a sicko. I'm not watching Lemoyne tape rebounding sicko. I try. I wish I'm not there. So that's something great that they got out of those 2 guys, and I'm anxious to see how much burn they actually get now that the games count. I think there's a lot more there for Dwayne, and partially on a team where there just aren't a ton of really strong rebounders right now, and they're going to ease Terrace in, and it sounds like Terrace is really close. I almost don't want him to play Monday, given it's a soft tissue thing, but it sounds like he's really close. And post-game, Dan said he was close, but also said they don't want there to be, he said there had been another setback over this period, and he's worried. He wants to make sure they don't have another one, to which I'm like, maybe he doesn't need to play against New Haven. But we'll see. It sounds like he's really close, and I'm sure Terrace wants to get out there. But if Terrace isn't out there, the spot's there. I mean, especially if Eric Ryba is who played well in times. If he's going to foul this much, I mean, they're going to need somebody else to go in there. So I was impressed with what I saw with Dwayne and liked Alec, but we all are also burying the lead of who had and Alex was the best player. Alex had a great night. Uh, Solo had a rough night from three, but was really good at everything else. But the standout performance tonight was Jaden Ross. And Dan talked about he's seen that movie on streaming, and now he wants to go to the theaters. Dan trying with the metaphors there. That's the performance. That's the guy they've all talked about and believed in. He looks physically much bigger. He definitely putting time in the weight room. 2 for 3 from three. Holy shit. It was great to see. 22 minutes gave him 13 points, only 3 fouls, and was +9. So I was just really impressed with Jaden having the confidence to stick with that 3-point shot, and it went down tonight. And that's the guy with Braylon Mullins out that has a huge opportunity. He and Jalen Stewart, the minutes are there. Somebody's got to fill that void without their best, maybe natural scorer, arguably, on the team available for 6 weeks or so here. And Jaden Ross tonight put his hat in the ring as maybe he's going to be the guy to take the opportunity first.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked awesome tonight. It was great to kind of see him have, that game that we've been told that he has all the time, every day in practice. It was great to see it live and in real time. I mean, could score from some pretty awkward angles, did a good job dribble driving to the hoop, knocked down a couple threes, grabbed a rebound, and kept the fouls to a minimum too. I thought he played a really solid game defensively. There was like a stretch of time where him and whoever he was guarding, I didn't catch it, kind of alternated turns, losing each other on the court a couple times. But outside of that, I was really pleased. And this last time, when they played BC, I feel like Stewie and Ross are like the real keys to this thing, like getting to that national title level. I feel really comfortable saying that talent wise, this is definitely probably like a second weekend team, Final Four contender. I get really until I see a lot of teams to say, hey, that team can contend for a natty. Stewie and Ross can be the two guys that take that real step forward. Mullins is who he says he is. They can clean up the fouls. Like those two and what they can bring to this, I think completely changed the calculus from this team from being really, really good at their floor to holy smokes, this could be another really special team. And Stewie a little inconsistent tonight, but Jaden really brought it. And as long as one of them can kind of be that guy night in, night out, I think that's what's going to help to really take this team to the next level.
Yeah. One last thing before we open it up, we should probably touch on. It was the debut of Silas DeMurray Jr. We got to see him. He had a hot start, and I feel like his best work was done in the first 3 minutes, and after that he struggled a little bit. But it's his first game in a UConn uniform. He's been injured, knocking the rust off. I thought he was fine generally, and also Malachi Smith, who had a bizarre game with the fouls, but who didn't. For a while they're running that small backcourt. It gave Michigan State fits, and that was something that was kind of like, oh, this is interesting. This could be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna. I'm really fascinated to see what this group looks like with Terrace. That's the thing. I'm just really dying to see right now. But I feel like we've gotten a look at kind of what everything looks like, with the exception of what the best rotation they can possibly put out on the floor would look like. So I guess that's a good thing. I thought Silas was present, but kind of quietly had a good game. I mean, had 9 points, only turned the ball over twice, 3 assists. I think he had something around 4 or 5 boards tonight. Decent night for three. Only took 3 of it. 2 for 3. Made the majority of his free throws. Got downhill. I thought he distributed pretty well. There was a couple touch and feel plays where he tried to force things a little bit too much. But like on the whole, man, I mean, I thought the guard play was really great tonight, even though it didn't really stuff the stat sheet, maybe quite as much as you would hope to see. So, and it's Silas's first game action here. Like we've said this. I mean, we've beaten this dead horse into the ground a zillion times about, point guards reacclimatizing in new homes and getting the lay of the land. Will take a little while for him. So, but I mean, look, I think you kind of take a step back. You look at the big picture here. Number one, the most important thing, nobody got hurt tonight.
Yeah.
That's numero uno. And, like I said, there just never felt like there was ever a point in the game where they were really feeling any kind of like major game pressure at all against, pretty talented Michigan State team. Michigan State, even though it's probably not one of the more talented groups, like they're still Michigan State, right? And just kind of kept him at bay pretty much the whole time. Somebody was saying in Discord they were a little annoyed that the score got so close at the end.
Yeah,
me too.
They finished on the 7-0 run.
Yeah, whatever. I think this was definitely. There were times where I'm hoping we don't get whistles like this in the regular season, and I just don't think we will.
It's happening in a lot of these exhibitions. It has me a little nervous, but I don't think it's. I mean,
I hope not, man. I've seen some other exhibitions that's been really bad. So
it's the sort of thing that makes you glad the team isn't flying to the middle of the ocean to play 3 games in 3 days with a whistle like that.
So, well, I mean, imagine I tweeted it tonight. I was like, imagine being Michigan State and you're like, your time is on. You're like, this is great. We're going to go play a top 5 team in their barn. It's not going to hurt us, right? Like, great experience,
Let me see how my young backcourt looks against this power team. Well, how do they look at shooting free throws? Because that's what you got to see. And
yeah, they travel all the way out from Michigan, all the way out from East Lansing to come here and shoot free throws all night. Like, Izzo said, he goes, I'm not sure we gave Dan the look that he wanted tonight. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, like I said, on the whole, like, you got to feel really great with no Reed, no Mullins, some foul trouble. It was sticky. It wasn't clean tonight. And they scored 76 points. They scored 76 points tonight in spite of it all, right? And really kept Michigan State at bay. Again, you don't want to read too much into these things, but like all things considered, like looking at this group this time right now as opposed to this time last year, it's like completely different animal. I think it's going to be a very uniquely different team. I know Dan's compared them a little bit to 23, and we'll see what the final rendition of them looks like. Obviously, with Terrace in the middle, kind of being more of a Sonogo like piece. But I think they're going to be a little bit different, man. I think this is going to be more of a depth team, that can throw a lot of like crazy, unique, interesting looks at you. So, we're mostly healthy coming out of tonight. Knock on wood. We're as healthy as we usually are this time of year. It's a tradition unlike any other to have our 5-star freshman with an injury for the first couple of weeks.
Never going to have one of them play at Kansas. It's so sad.
They're never going to play at Kansas. They're never going to get to. They're never going to get to understand the glory of bye games.
It's a shame. It's tragic.
It's like that Frank. What is that John Wayne meme or whatever his name was, where he just throws the girl into the river or the lake or whatever. That's what it is. Come on in. Enjoy the Big East, buddy.
Yeah, Big East, get going. 74 free throws tonight combined, by the way. What a tremendous entertainment product that was.
We sat there the whole game and watched it too. Whistle to whistle.
Yeah, shout out to Tom Izzo, never changed. They took 14 threes. It's not going to change. They're going to be in the second weekend. Well, I won't. I'll laugh, but because it looks like throwing bricks in a dishwasher, but they'll figure it out. And yeah, that was certainly a sporting event that happened, and I guess we should let some other folks talk. God, there were so many people that got fouls in this game. The fact that they switched the foul limit mid-game to 1993 Big East rules, and apparently Dan Hurley asked for it to be 8, but Izzo didn't want to do 8 fouls. Came out post-game. It's just, I like that was the solution. We'll just let you take more. No, we won't call fewer. Like, okay, I guess that's a solution. It's not the one I would have picked. But yeah, and that's what I get from pointing out pregame that it is legitimately a Final Four ref crew that they had on that game. And boy, did those guys really miss the offseason. They were ready to go.
Holy smokes,
Holy
man. I felt like it just was a running joke at one point. Like when everybody started to get ready. You know it's bad, like when the other team's just picking up fouls and I was looking behind the Michigan State bench and even their people are just getting restless. Like, what are we doing here? Why? What's the need for any of this? Who wants to watch this?
I want to note we're complaining about it in a game that UConn led for 39 minutes and 2 seconds. So this isn't like I'd rather do it now than you lose a game. Like that was, and it sucks too because it was cool that Michigan State came out and did it. It was Tom Izzo's third game in that building, his first time playing UConn in that building. He had his first ever NCAA tournament win was over Eastern Michigan in 1998. As you remember, Hartford did a bang-up job hosting the NCAAs that year. Michigan State was in that game. That was Izzo's first NCAA tournament win as head coach. He said 30 years. I think he was 98. It could have been 89, actually. He just could have been off by 10 years. But yeah, Izzo postgame was remarking that he said, "I love Hartford, but I don't love it as much now." That's a quote I want to clip just for you. Yeah, apparently Jim Calhoun spoke to the team pregame and just to Michigan State and just talked about how much he kept beating Michigan State throughout the years, which was classic Jim. I saw he was on the broadcast with Chris Smith, which I'm sure was cool. Obviously we didn't hear it, but yeah, cool to appreciate Michigan State doing that. I'd love a regular season series, but hey, I'll take this if this is what we get. And hopefully next year at the Breslin Center, we can keep it under 50 fouls. That would really just be great for everyone.
I can't believe you threatened me with the idea of going out there to experience that.
Oh, I can't wait. I'll be there with bells on.
I'll go to Detroit.
Well, we will. Is that next year's Final Four? I can't even remember.
I think it is next year. Yeah, next year I think it's Detroit. It's Vegas or it's Detroit next year.
I told you, I wanted to claim this as some measure of revenge for being at the 2009 Final Four, which would have been just the most bullshit. Like, really? It wasn't 2014 or 2012.
Yeah, I was going to say 14, probably wrap that one
or
up.
11 in Maui. No, tonight. Tonight I got my revenge on Tom Izzo for his crimes. But no, I appreciate Michigan State and UConn putting this together. So they could have just played a D3 team like they did in the first game. So I think that was cool. And now we're on to Monday night. They all count from here out.
They all count. All right. Should we let the wieners whine?
We should. And hey, looking forward to everybody's thoughts on the new arena renovations as well.
Yes, we are going to get into that. All right, folks, as you know, nothing sucks worse than Hurley Mania, except, of course, a cranky Hurley Mania on an empty stomach. And so he gets to the point where I just can't take him anymore. I go to the only place that even he can't complain about, Martin Rollsoul's in New Britain. You want to talk about a Connecticut, true blue Connecticut-based business? Nothing comes close to Martin Rollsoul's. Since 1928, Martin Rollsoul's has been feeding cranky Huskies fans all over Connecticut and beyond. Hot dogs, sausages, kielbasa's, and deli meats. They have everything we need to keep jerks like Hurley Mania fed, quiet, and that they didn't threaten to pull their sponsorship over it, even a place to just frankly leave them. Again, that's Martin Rollsoul's at 45 Grove Street in New Britain, the official sponsor of Connecticut Basketball Space's Wiener Weinerline. And speaking of that, it's time to get to the meat of tonight's show. And by that, we mean the Martin Rollsoul's Wiener Weinerline. We'll be taking calls and check-ins here for the next hour. So if you want to talk at us, queue up. We'll bring you on in, and you can spew your filth. I guess we'll go to cash fraud first. What do you want?
Are we having fun yet?
I was having fun in a relative sense tonight.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was horrible to watch, but it was a good game.
Good game. Terrible watch. Great game.
The foul that they called on Malachi for his fifth foul, Cohen Carr literally spun into Jackson Kohler, and they called Malachi Smith for the foul. Like, they were just, I don't even know.
Yeah, I
Seeing
feel
ghosts
like
out there.
Malachi got an exceptionally tough whistle tonight. And I want to
So
know,
did,
like, as crazy as 34 fouls is, I think like 20 of them were probably legit. Like, it's hard because it was too many fouls, but also the team fouls a lot. And it makes a terrible combination.
well, like, the first half, like, the beginning of the game, like, the game was getting pretty physical. I think the teams actually did, like, sort of, they tried to adjust to how it was being officiated, but, like, there just still wasn't that consistency. It just, at a certain point, it's just, like, if you're calling 56, 50, whatever it was, like, I don't think it's the players, the teams that are out of control. I think it's you that's out of control. I don't know.
They got 2 weeks from Saturday, BYU and Boston. Like, I don't expect this to be fully cleaned up by then, but like, that BYU game starts a stretch where that shit is going to cost you. You are running into a gauntlet at that point. So I'm really fascinated to see what it looks like when it counts for real. I want to see how this thing gets whistled. I want to see what it looks like with terrorists involved. Obviously, I think that solves a lot, some portion of the problems, but it's a lot of fouling, and they're not going to get to just increase the limit to 6 when they're playing BYU with a really physical point guard you may hear about in the media.
But okay, thoughts on the game. Both teams were like a little disjointed out of the gate, but UConn settled in pretty nicely on offense once they figured out how to attack Michigan State. Once they realized that, like, because Michigan State, they dare you to turn the corner on them, and once UConn actually started turning the corner on them, the game opened up a lot for them. They had a couple early in the game that, like, Caravan had Kohler beat and he like spun back into him, but like they cleaned it up and Solo was good going to the basket. Caravan had some nice drives. Like, I thought Demery played well. It was actually encouraging because I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to have like the crazy Tristan Newton scoring outburst, but I think he's just going to be like it's going to be way less up and down than Tristan's first year was. I think he's just going to be able to give you like consistent production. Like, you're going to get effort out of him. You're going to get winning plays out of him. Like, I feel like it's just going to be a lot more steady with him this year than it was for maybe Tristan's first year. Ryba was a little overmatched at times physically, but I was actually pretty encouraged with how he handled it. He didn't get frustrated. He didn't back down at all. He just kept fighting, even though he was a little outmatched at times, which I liked. And that'll serve him well in the Big East. Jaden Ross played well, obviously. We all saw that, and that's very encouraging. And then Solo, Caravan did their things, what we expect them to do.
Yeah, I thought the biggest takeaway from the game in terms of Solo was that Dan was getting on him post game for some of the 3-point decisions. Solo was 5 for 6 on twos, and I specifically am referencing he's trying to go a lot more downhill, and that's something that Dan said they're going to have to unlock. It's one of the other, if you have a concern about this crew, is they've got to be able to, it can't just be 3 cuts and a 3. Like, they have to have guys who can attack the rack, and especially now with Braylon Mullins out for 6 weeks here, who's going to be the player that can attack off the dribble? And Solo's, along with Silas, they're going to have to bear the brunt of that. Tonight, I thought we saw a lot of that from Solo, who's really, really putting his head down and attacking the rim after the first 2 minutes of the game. And
Yeah,
so that was a really positive thing, because that's something that we talk all about offseason, about the defensive stuff, but like offensively, he's a great shooter, but he can't just be a spot shooter. This team, to really, really hit the heights, they need him to unlock that part of his game.
And maybe it was the way that the game was called, but like they a lot of, like, all of them seemed a lot more aggressive going to the rim. Like they weren't trying to shy away from contact. Like Solo tried to do that last year, and this time he just stayed on the attack, which was good. And I think that Dan was talking, like, a lot of those long threes were early in the game before, like, they figured out that they really had to. And I think that they did a pretty good job making the adjustment.
Yeah, we were throwing up some bombs early in the game from like
Yeah.
way downtown. Not the greatest shot selection, but like, I think what I like to see, I think if there was like a question mark about this team offensively, like who is going to be the release valve when things break down a little bit offensively, and Dan's talked a lot about that too this offseason of like just not being so lost in your own offense. Like who's a guy that can just take that mismatch, no, I don't need to go set the next screen, like beat a guy off the dribble, be a basketball player that makes basketball plays, right? And like you kind of look at the roster and like Silas can do that a little bit, but like who on the wing is going to be able to be that guy? Mullins, I don't want to, I think that'd be crazy to call him just a spot shooter, but, he's not a super physical guy right now. And, Alex isn't like a premium athlete, right? Whereas I think Solo certainly is, but I'll tell you, man, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought Alex looked spectacular tonight. He just looks more athletic overall. Like he's so much more mobile, explosive. I mean, there was that. What was it? It was like a blown dunk, but he
tried to put back dunk tonight.
He tried to put back.
Yeah. And I mean, that was like out of nowhere. I was like just stuff that we're not accustomed to seeing him do. And so I think that's been kind of a question mark. And if they've got guys that can kind of moonlight and do that, like Solo, like Alex, like Jaden Ross, I think Stewie's probably the guy that's like the best equipped to be that guy, in terms of his natural physical profile and gifts. But like if they can figure that out, that's going to be huge for them. And I don't know. I also kind of noticed a little bit in the offense tonight. There was a little bit more of them, experimenting, not getting as stuck in their ball screen actions, their DHOs, and a lot of the Zoom stuff that they've run in the past. And, kind of letting guys just figure some shit out on the fly a little bit. And, I liked what I saw there. I just think it gives them another layer of their offense. That was a big question mark tonight. And heading in, I think, or just heading into the season in general. And I feel a lot better seeing what I've seen so far in the preseason.
And to be extreme hoop nerd about it, in the second half, like in the first half, Michigan State's guards, they're young, and it's the thing they're going to have to improve. That they were a little overwhelmed physically by UConn's size, and they played better in the second half, and they were doing a better job of getting UConn into some like bad matchups. And I thought UConn did a really good job of switching guys up, like identifying those and routing through to make sure that they didn't get situations where you didn't want to have Carson Cooper on solo ball, stuff like that, where they were routing guys through defensively. So I thought this UConn team did a much better job in terms of they look like a better defensive unit, but it's not just because they have, bigger players. You can tell that the film work has gone in there so far. It looks like they're much better at identifying the mismatches teams are trying to get on them, and they know the way to kind of work through them.
I take from this what you will. In the first half, Michigan State had like half their points were from the free throw line, and then they had like 10 points on 10 fast break points, and they had like 6 or 8 total points from the floor.
Yeah, they had 7 field goals. They were 7 for 20 from the floor.
Yeah, and 10 of those points were fast break points, and two of the baskets that they made in the half court were just like UConn just left them wide open for threes, and they were just like Solo got lost on like a ball screen, miscommunication, and then there was another one I think with Ryba where there was like a miscommunication again, and but like those mistakes will get ironed out. So like pretty encouraging signs from the defense in the first half. I think Michigan State played a lot better in the second half, and I think that they're going to be a good team. So.
Yeah, when they were in just straight half-court possessions first half, Michigan State, the water was off. And this team didn't turn the water off on anybody last year. And it ends up, Michigan State averages over a point per possession in both halves, and it's strictly free throw based. And that is concerning, but like, man, if they got to fix the foul problem, but they're cutting everything off in half court, that we've solved one of the problems from last year defensively. And because last year they were both issues. So,
yeah. And actually I was surprised too. Like Ryba, he disrupted some shots. He didn't get I don't know if he had any blocks
They gave him 2.
Okay. I can remember one pretty vividly. So 2 makes sense. But he disrupted a couple shots. Like he had some Donovan Clingan moments where he scared some some encouraging signs out of Ryba.
Yeah, I'm positive on everything I've seen so far. The issues are the issues we knew they were going to be before Terrace got hurt or they played BC. He's a freshman. He's got to put on 40 pounds. And time is the only solution for that. But the passing is unreal. Between him and Furphy, 2 international guys, the stuff they see ball movement wise is wild. Furphy had a quiet night. He still had 2 assists. His shot hasn't gone down yet, but the way that these 2 guys are just identifying other opportunities is really eye popping.
Furphy bled tonight. That's really all that matters.
That was great. That at the end of the game, he just started bleeding. I think it was bleeding. It was the opposite at the end of the court. But I'm just assuming he bladed.
I don't
gotta get some color.
I don't think we've seen Furphy get fully comfortable yet.
Yeah, he looked a little sped up tonight. You could tell he was the engine was turned up all the way on him. But go ahead.
Hold on. He's in a great spot. Anytime he gets put in the game, he has to know that he's sort of just go for it, man. Be confident, do your thing.
Yeah, I was
playing with great players.
I've been impressed with Ryba. I love his footwork. He's got great touch, unbelievable court vision. Wasn't afraid to shoot a 3 tonight. I think because he knew nobody was behind him to get subbed out for. So tee it high and let it fly, Ryba. But the rim finishing is going to need some work. He's got to get more physical. He got bounced off the block a little bit too much. He's got some work to do. The whole team has some work to do on their ball screen defense right now. But Ryba has a lot of work, to do, especially on the pick and rolls. He gets caught behind and then tries to make up and had some really dumb freshman ticky-tacky fouls tonight. But again, huge step up for him from Boston College. And he held his own, and we're not going to be asking this dude to play 35 minutes a game. That's just not what it's going to be. And if we can get a lot of what we got, tonight, and it's in a 10 to 15 minute stretch. And even if it's got to be more 20 to 25 because Terrace gets in foul trouble, I'm fine. I feel real good, about where he's at and certainly his ability to grow over the course of the season and become even better. The thing that I think I was surprised about tonight that, I'd say sort of the line on him has been very iffy about his ability to protect the rim. I've liked what I've seen the first 2 games. He altered a ton of shots tonight. Kind of has a really good, sense of timing, spacing. He uses his length very, very well. He's not polished yet, but I think he protected the rim just fine tonight. A little sloppy on the fouls, but for what the reputation was, I've been pretty impressed with what I've seen.
Yeah, and look at the schedule. Like the guys where he's going to have problems. Florida, well, yeah, obviously Florida's like an awful matchup in that regard. Florida, St. John's with Zuby, Illinois with 17 Eastern Europeans. There's like another 28 games on the schedule though, where yes, he's a freshman and he's going to struggle at times, but he's not facing overwhelming opposing centers. The talent at the forward positions in the sport this year in college shouldn't really be at the level that it's been the last couple of years, and that'll help him out as much as anything else. And he's got to get experience, get in the weight room, but like, he hasn't got to go against Kalkbrenner here twice, or but he also doesn't get to go against Adama, and that's who Dan was comparing him to post game in terms of what they're going to try and do with him, and that I thought is probably the most straightforward comparison in terms of what they want Eric to do, especially offensively. But yeah, man, he's altering kind of more shots than I thought he would for a guy who is kind of slender. And we'll see as the competition steps up. But I mean, it's Michigan State. It's as physical a team as you're going to find. And he largely held his own. The fouls were an issue. The fouls were an issue for everybody. Like I expect in a game like that, Eric Ryba, even if it isn't a crazy night with the refs, I expect him to be near a foul out situation if he's getting significant minutes. It's just the way it is. Michigan State does not take a lot of threes. The ball's in the paint all the time. And in the second half, UConn could not rebound a missed free throw to save their lives. And it was exhausting to watch the team try. So they were getting a ton of fouls off of that. So I'm impressed with what I've seen so far from this kid.
Yeah, they needed to move bodies out of the paint a little better, but they were doing a good job, like trying to high point rebounds. And one last thing, and then I'll let other people speak. I thought Izzo was great. He gave a great post game interview. He was pretty relaxed on the sideline. He was pretty relaxed about the game in general. He didn't try to kill UConn with Kohler and Cooper. He kind of matched up how the game was being played to give everyone looks and stuff, and he was great. So
he did have one nice meltdown moment though on that block. Came shooting off the bench. Looked like he was going to blow a gasket. But that's all healthy. That's what I like in my coaches.
Well, you're allowed at least one in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Cash Fraud, man.
This one doesn't count.
Thanks a lot, Cash Fraud. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, Mike Warner, you're up next, man. Go for it. Again, anybody wants to call in, talk, spew your filth, go ahead and request. We'll get you in here. Mike, what you got for us, man?
Oh, what's up? I caught the very last second of y'all's intro. I heard something about Stewart Central and you. Are you guys raising NIL? What is happening?
We're moving over there. We're going to be part of Store Central now.
Wait a minute. Did you guys ask to go over there, or was it the other way around?
It's a little both. Conversations happened.
Oh my gosh.
Help us help you situation.
Y'all sold out last year. Now, I don't even know what we call this.
Is it selling in? It's a good
selling
question.
in. Yeah,
I don't know, because we're trying to help. I guess. Yeah.
Extra investment. Yeah.
We're moving in, moving around, up and down, and all around. I don't know what I would call it, but no, we're just gonna be doing a lot of really cool stuff coming up. So we're gonna see how some of these ideas come together, but we're gonna be doing some stuff, some content directly with everybody in the program. So. If you ever wanted to see Hurley Mania get his ass kicked, you're going to get a chance to probably.
I mean, why is this what we keep going back to?
A variety of formats. We'll be able to do an audio, so you get to hear the you can even see the visual. You can even put it on mute and then play the audio on in the background. As Alex Caravan beats him senseless with a Bodor.
Oh, man. I mean, I do absolutely, in all seriousness, think it's an amazing idea. You guys asked for content ideas, right? I mean, you have to do something with Isaiah Whaley, and then maybe something from the 218 bathrooms if that still exists. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they were nice. They actually didn't touch them. Do we want to get into? We'll probably be a good segue in a little bit here to talk about our thoughts on the renovations. But yeah, no, they did. The bathrooms are still pristine. So we got a lot on the fire. We're not going to get too publicly committal with what we got going on. But a lot of the obvious stuff, the bucket list stuff that we talk about a lot on here, The low-hanging fruit is absolutely on the
Right.
table and likely to happen. And we're going to have a lot of other stuff. So, if anybody's got ideas too, like we've always, we said this at the beginning of the show, anybody that's got content ideas or just stuff that you want to see, whether it's quirky, interesting, or otherwise, let us know. We're definitely looking for some really cool stuff to be able to do with them. And, it's going to be featured on the site. Some of it will be behind a paywall, but it's going to be worth the money and time. And we're also
In
working
time.
on some live events, which I think are going to be a lot of fun. Some pre and post game broadcasts of spaces. So we got a lot on the docket, but we'll have more details about what it's going to look like specifically here pretty soon.
No, I think it's honestly a great idea. I mean, I'm super excited for y'all and for honestly, Stewart Central has been great the last couple of years. But anyways, the game tonight was. I mean, everybody brings up last year a lot, and like it's the last data point, so I understand. But this team couldn't be further from last year's team. Like I just throw away last year, like it didn't happen. I mean, it happens, but I'm not. You can look at Hurley even in the post game, like the way that his demeanor is completely like he's just not carefree, but he's just completely chill. Last year you could kind of tell even before Maui, he was kind of getting slightly like manic in a way, chasing a three-peat, probably knowing inherently that the team was not anywhere close to that. I mean, I think he's admitted that multiple times. But he loves Koroma. That's why everybody's bringing up Ryba. And I think Ryba is probably one of the best center prospects outside of his class, in terms of being a freshman or not. I think he's one of the best centers in the country. And I mean, especially for the NBA. But like Chroma's going to play. I mean, he might foul out in 3 minutes, but he's going to play, for sure. Because Dan loves him, but
Post game quote from Dan: I thought Dwayne played well. I don't know what he was doing. So,
that's what I laughed out loud. I was driving home in the press conference. I laughed out loud because he was just like, "I got to watch the film. I don't know what the fuck he was doing or how he even got the
by
fouls."
his fouls more than anyone else's, because I think like he loved what Dwayne was doing, and then there was a foul. It was just
Yeah,
he's just one of those guys that we talked about in the 24 national title game. Samson, you have 5 fouls to give.
right.
Make use of every single one of them and hang on for dear life and try to get that big bozo and drop. And I think that's how you're going to be able to use Karomo when you're kind of in the pinch and you need to go to a guy like that. I don't know how much time he's seriously going to be getting or eating into with Eric at all. But when you need him, it's nice to know that he's there.
Yeah. I mean, and it's all relative. I mean, we've played 2 exhibition games, and obviously you're working on things. While I think, especially coaches like Izzo and Hurley are, understanding of wanting to put out a product for the fan base to at least be, put your best players out there in ways and whatever, but also at the same time, try things and, try and expose yourself in ways, et cetera. But, I don't know. I think the way that Hurley, just the way that this season couldn't be different. Going into this season couldn't be different. It's so much different than last year as far as just everything. The fan base is kind of chill, versus going into last season, especially with all the stuff we brought up, Lakers and, Hurley just, chasing the three-peat and just all of it that came in with that. I mean, we've had a normal off season. The fan base is as relatively rational going into the year, as ever, as you could expect from a UConn fan base, but,
Give it a week.
yeah, I mean, yeah, give it a week, and yeah, I mean, for sure. But overall, either Michigan State I know they've lost a couple players, but this team won the Big Ten by 3 games last year, and UConn drubbed them. I mean, it wasn't a game at all. I know the final score was 7, 8 points, but UConn throttled them without 2 starters. One of them could be an All-American, by the way. Maybe 2 of them, but I doubt it. But I mean, to not have Reed and Mullins, and then not have Silas or Reed last game, which is Boston College, whatever. But UConn's good, man. They're top 5 good. I'm certain of it. I know it's exhibitions, and I don't like to get too irrational. I guess I'm being a little whatever, but I don't know. We have answers for every single position. The only thing that I was concerned with coming into the year was our wing play. And I mean, you guys kind of brought it up with Alex. Like, Alex took a dribble handoff and stepped did like a three side step, like, and just catch and shoot three, which we've seen him take spot up threes a million times, but he rarely will do like a moving and shoot, ever. He definitely doesn't dribble into a shot most of the time, but I mean, there's a clear difference in Alex. There's a clear difference in Solo. There's a clear difference with everyone really from, last season to this season in terms of, talent, and the depth of the team will allow the team to be, able to kind of play more free. And I mean, I don't know. I just think that we are definitely contenders this year. I mean, I think it's going to be an entertaining year. And I can't wait for game one against New Haven when, Jay Ross is starting.
I mean, I'd start him.
He was good tonight. I mean, you want to talk about somebody that he's like slowly but surely like gaining confidence. You could kind of see it throughout the game. Like he was going to dribble drive and he kind of like, hesitated. Like if he starts to actually unlock and play confidently, like you can actually see the vision that they, I guess, have been, touting for 2 years now or whatever. But
we've talked about it for 2 years. It's not a bit like it's got to be incredible. It's got to be one of the weirder things for the coaching staff is they see this guy go nuts in practice and then the game starts and it's like it's a different person. Tonight,
it's not just the staff blowing him up too. Like everybody we talk to around the program, everybody that watches them practice, that is like around this team behind closed doors when the curtain is not open, all just rave about him. So it's just a matter for some guys of finding that switch and figuring out a way to, piece it together in a game. And like, the thing with Jaden is he's very much sort of came in kind of as a rough stone. He was a guy that was like a real legitimate late bloomer. I think he was in the low 100s, the high 100s rather, in the top 200 heading into the year where he got recruited and went from a guy that was like 6'3", 6'4", a nice little dribble drive game, to shooting up to 6'7", getting used to being in this brand new body, and being able to sort of add things to his game very quickly, that pushed him up right around that top 100-ish recruit range. Coming into a program, in the state that I was in 24, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for him, period. But gave him kind of a year to figure out. And, I don't think things turned over. I don't think the engine turned over for him in the way and manner that, I think he would have wanted last year. But this year, I think, with a little bit more of a clear understanding of what his role needs to be, that extra year of development. There's some guys that it's not, we talk about this with development all the time. We talk about this with building the program. It's not always a straight A to B line. Sometimes there's a couple turns at Albuquerque or a guy's development stalls out a little bit in a particular year. Sometimes it's not there year 1 or 2, but pop goes the weasel year 3. And so, here's the hoping for it. I mean, he's an outstanding athlete. He's long, athletic. He's got a little scoring touch. Kind of came in with the reputation of being a shooter, which I know breaks people's brains listening to that. It's the truth. And he can score and he can defend really, really well. I mean, he's, Andre Jackson-ish kind of skill set. Not nearly I don't think the dynamic personality that Andre is. Not nearly the athlete quite that Andre is. But probably a better scorer. And similar-ish passer, and right around the same zip code defensively, coming out of high school. So will that translate here? We can all hope. I thought we saw a pretty big flash of that tonight. I hope he can put it together because I can't tell you how high the staff is on him behind the scenes and what he might be able to bring to the table, but it's on him to make that translate to prime time.
Yeah, I mean, I remember actually watching a lot of just randomly Peach Jam the year that we recruited him. Cause I think Solo was in the class and Chase too. But he was a scorer. I mean, the multiple games I watched, he was definitely a double digit scorer. And I would say he's a better, dribbling ball handler than Andre Jackson was as well. And Andre Jackson, had multiple injuries his freshman year, and sophomore year, I want to say. Before he really was like a stud his junior season. But, yeah, I mean, that's my long question as far as coming into the year. I mean, I have a million questions with UConn. I mean, the defense is, fouls notwithstanding, markedly better, is, short way to say it. I mean, versus last season. Last year, it didn't matter. I mean, just straight dribble drives to the hole, and it was wild last season. I've never seen the UConn defense that bad, but yeah. I mean, I hope if Jaden Ross is legitimately a piece this year, then I mean, I think it unlocks the entire roster in a lot of ways, like you mentioned before. I mean, Stewie as well, but I mean, the trio of guys between the trio of juniors, could be the upside of the team. So
We'll see.
but
We'll see.
yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it. Gonna keep it moving along here. I want to try to get everybody to bed by 1:00. We got everything dragged along enough by the refs tonight. So, thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it. All right. I'm going to move along, we're going to do Jaden Daly next, and then, UConn metrics will be after that. But, Jaden, man, go ahead, bud. How are you tonight?
Beautiful. I'm in good shape for the shape I'm in, trying to watch the Rangers close out this fucking shutout.
I know. I can't believe I just put this fucking game on my phone. I'm so mad at myself right now with this game.
Well, how was it up in Hartford? I had Connor up there because I couldn't make it myself.
Well, we should probably do the arena review at this point.
Yeah, why not? Tell me what the Civic Center looks like now.
I'll tell you. Listen, my phone worked the entire time.
God bless you.
That was incredible.
Can't speak to everybody. I did not have one tweet declined.
They reported 15,495 in the building. I'd say that's pretty accurate. It looked, I mean, the center upper deck student section was empty at the start of the game and then kind of filled in, but I mean, fair enough. It's a freaking Tuesday.
Is 15 an announced sellout?
I don't know what the capacity number is now. I think that's close.
It used to be 15.5, I think, was right around the solid number.
It looked like about 14 maybe were in there. There was sparse in the upper on the sides as well, but it was a good crowd. And yeah, cell service throughout. Not going to complain about that. Kind of feels like a miracle. Our section was beautifully untouched, but
the whole top of the arena, like they look at it and they're like, wow, look at the seating. It's all blue seats, guys, up in the upper deck. They have not changed.
Yeah, it's blue seats with gray paint and black seats downstairs. It's like if you told a 12-year-old to get dressed for a wedding, basically. I'll say this, listen, I appreciate the effort and stuff, and it's the reality of the building is if you're in the upper area, it has not changed, and that was not a secret to anybody. Down low, if you got money, it's probably a drastically different experience. I have seats down low for hockey, so I've sat in the new seats. They're wider, but they're wider from a function of the fact that they build seats at that width. It wasn't like they went out of their way to do something, but I do, as a fat guy, appreciate that there's more room in those seats downstairs. Yeah, so our area upstairs, pretty much the same. I know the old theory of the best thing you can do for a house for an upgrade. One of the easiest things is just a fresh coat of paint. And boy, are they leaning into that theory because it is all
paint everywhere.
Very nice.
There's new paint everywhere. I don't know why they were wood paneling behind the loge boxes, but okay. A lot of down low, very, in like the club boxes or the ones they have at the top of the lower bowl. The seats are huge. I described this. They look like seats from a dialysis clinic. Like they're just really big. Like it's comfortable and that's what you want. But it is kind of funny that they look like dialysis size seats.
Jeez.
So we'll see.
If you having a little too much to drink, maybe you can go down there and catch an IV.
November 23rd is going to be my first trip up there for the Bryant game.
Oh, you sick bastard! And that sounds like I'm taking
Sam might be coming with me.
Oh, well, I expect him there. By the way, that sounds like I'm just taking a shot because I'm the guy who takes shots off. That they remind me of that seat, having been in a hospital a lot, and that's not a bad thing. They look very comfortable. I have not sat in them. We'll see, but yeah, I'm interested to see what the thoughts are from folks who sat down low because that wasn't us. For us, upstairs, the same gorgeous bathroom, the exact same seats. Just a lot more gray paint.
Yeah, I did like the fact that the middle concession stand had its security grate halfway up and the cleaning equipment all over the counter. That was awesome.
Yes.
It made me feel like I was at home again.
Outstanding.
The concourses, there's just a lot of LED monitors. It's a lot of advertising.
It is. It does feel bigger, but I want to stress, it isn't. It physically is the exact same size.
It's extremely not bigger. It does seem a little bit bigger. I felt like I was walking in like a laser tag tunnel.
Yeah, that's a good comparison for it.
And, but it was still very crowded walking in. And the people that like kind of congregate around the little beer stands there, they gum things up still. And, it still feels like the XL Center. I have not been downstairs yet. I do not plan on it. That's not my style. Or maybe we have to. Maybe we should do some content around the accoutrements.
Yes, they need us to go give a grand tour to the rest of the plebes and explain to them the value of the new renovation.
Yeah, I mean,
the one thing
it's a very American 2025 kind of thing. You're a rich guy, you're going to have a blast. Essentially.
Yeah.
Or at least a better time than you're having. Relatively speaking.
And if you aren't, you're fucked. No. The thing that they didn't really stress in the renovations, I think they should have. So the old, the bar area that they put in maybe 10 years ago on one of the ends behind 121 and 122, they moved the bar into the corner by 124 and 101. It's the corner right by the main, if you come in through the atrium, right there, that corner, they moved the bar over to there. And by moving the bar over to there, where the bar used to be now, it's kind of just a standing room only area, but it's a bigger standing room only area. And there's also standing room, but with some chairs on the other end as well by the sports book. So, I mean, that could be a complete shit show for a big game when everybody congregates there because it's a great view. So I did like that. And it did open up now, the bar area that was there before is now a lot. There's just less shit in it. It's just more area to stand around. So I am interested to see it when folks realize that, and it's a pretty good view, especially if you're upstairs. And I'm wondering if there's going to suddenly be a few hundred people congregated in there and how they handle that. If it's like by us hot balls, it will be by sending 17 security guards over to parade around and order people.
There's so many more security guards there.
It's probably literally our fault. Boy, did they have a bunch of folks in yellow jackets by 2:39 tonight.
A ton, and they had the captain security lady, and man, she was not having anything from anybody tonight. She was like a DePaul security guard.
Oh wow,
not to be trifled with.
Yeah, and she was nice about it. She's doing her job, but wow, the serious level of enforcing, free movement. I hope that was just because it was first night of a men's game with 15,000 people in the building. I did see somebody from the Hartford Fire Department was wandering around, probably trying to make sure, for fire capacity and stuff. Hopefully that chills out by the time we get to Bryant.
We'll break them down. We'll make her one of us.
Yeah, I am hoping for a week from Friday for Lowell, we can maybe all chill out on that. But by and large, yeah, it's the same. It feels like the same building to me.
Okay.
We'll see for you, Jaden, because media. I know they moved you guys around.
Yeah, I gotta go across the building now to say hello to you guys.
Yeah. It's good you get your
But it
steps
is
in.
what it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking at the final box and the book that Bobby Mullen sent over, and I'm not surprised that Silas and Malachi had 5 fouls and Jeremy Fierce had 3. You forget it's Gaffney who was the lead whistle, and Gaffney is notorious for being a hard ass with point guards. I remember when Iona played Quinnipiac a couple of years ago, and Gaffney was the lead whistle, and he fouled Danish Jenkins out in about 5 minutes in the second half. So Gaffney is notoriously douchey when it comes to point guards. I'm not surprised by that.
I did have a theory I posited the Hotball game, I should say broadly. As annoying as it was to watch that and the way it was, I wonder if Dan and maybe Tom even were kind of thrilled with it in terms of you get that experience in an exhibition game and you get to hammer home that, especially for Dan with what they went through last year, this team's got to just defend differently.
Yeah, and I think Izzo's all for that too, because he plays as physical as anybody.
Yeah. The best thing about it though was that, and Hotballs, you alluded to it early. Last year the fouls were all on the perimeter. At least tonight, as awful as watching 34 of the things was, I feel like 25 of them were at least in the paint. Like, at least they're committing the fouls in the places where it's like, okay, you're in the right position.
They were contested fouls. They were contested on the ball, trying to make a play on the ball kind of foul, right? And not like, again, the saloon door hitting you in the ass when you're driving to the basket, like they were last year, where they just get completely blown off their feet and start reaching in from behind, being off balance, running into guys, overcommitting, and just the result of like really, just to be blunt, stupid and lazy play on defense. And tonight was definitely, they were more, I guess you could call them effort fouls. Got to have better discipline. I just think that, and I said this earlier, I just think we're always going to be a program that fouls a lot. It's how Dan practices. We're a physical team. I think it's just something that's just kind of baked into the cake, but like, it can't be this bad. And you can be a little bit more disciplined than they are, but like, that is a completely different thing to try to clean up than guys just not picking up reads, not doing a good enough job in the film room, all of the kinds of just really young, inexperienced, immature things that I saw from this group defensively last year. And that's not to say, look, a lot of teams, some of the younger teams, they all do it. I think you talk to a college coach, they say one of the most challenging things that it is, especially for newer players in a program or from an age standpoint, is getting them to read the scouting report and really take the film room to heart. And I just think we had a lot of that last year. And that's just frankly, I mean, there was a little bit of lack of size and there was just no depth. And I think you add all of those things together and you mix them together, that you get barely a top 75 defensive team overall for the year. And they still improved quite a bit by the end of the season. I would much rather have this team's deficiencies defensively than what they had to deal with last year, which was like building out just a bunch of like foundational, this is how we're going to go at teams. This is how we're going to match up. These are the kinds of stupid things you don't do. And this is just a more experienced group. The guys that are returners, a year older, a year wiser. And the guys that they brought in are just naturally better defenders and older, more mature players. So, obviously sloppy. They're going to have to be more disciplined. Every team's got shit they got to clean up. That's what we're going to have to clean up this year. But I'd much rather have this than where they were at last year.
They have, to summarize, they have drastically raised the floor defensively. The floor. We'll see what the ceiling looks like, but the floor is at least tenable.
I thought I had a worse whistle Saturday with 54 fouls in an overtime game, but I guess I was wrong.
Which one was that?
Michigan and
That
St.
was the
John's.
Michigan St. John's
Yeah.
Reading
Oh, yeah.
Dorsey Chiazza debacle.
Yeah, but 96-94, I think, was that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's considering there was one team playing without a point guard. That's actually impressive. Yeah. So we'll see. The Izzo postgame was what kind of raised my eyebrow on it, was that and it gave me a little hope, because I know this is a UConn team that's going to foul a lot, but like the fouls are up across all these exhibitions, and we'll see where this looks in a week nationwide. I just hope. I have no ill will towards the Thunder, but like I can't watch worse versions of SGA in like mid-major games. It can't be happening.
Well, how many fouls did we have total tonight between two teams? 54?
34.
56.
The game had 56. UConn was called for 34 of them.
Yeah, so 56 and 54 fouls between the two best teams in the Big East.
Yeah.
And their respective exhibition games, Big East officials. Like, if that's going to be a thing, that's just not going to be a watchable product. Like, there's just no way that they can call games like that.
Yeah, the Michigan St. John's game is what stands out. This is both two teams that have a defensive pedigree. Like, God, what's it going to look like for Butler? I mean, the games are just getting longer and longer, man. It's been, and that's what kills me, is it's been an identified issue. The games are taking too long, and now we're setting them up to go to an extreme.
Did any of you guys get a possession number on that game?
The St. John's game?
No, the game tonight.
I have it in front of me. UConn had 65 possessions, and Michigan State had 63.
Yeah, that's a lot of fouls.
It's a ton of fouls. And it's what it jades you, because Michigan State in the first half, they only hit 7 field goals and they have 10 fast break points. So like when you ISO it and what UConn did in the half court, they were exceptional. But Michigan State still scores over a point per possession because they shoot 22 free throws.
Yeah.
There were a combined 74 free throws tonight. I don't know. I don't think that's why I don't think that's why Tom Izzo scheduled this game. And he was lamenting their free throw shooting because they actually had a bad night at the line.
Yeah.
And
they weren't good.
They shot under 70% at the line, which makes it look like that's why they lost the game. I thought the game was closer to 20 points than 5, but whatever. And UConn kind of, to some degree, and not that this is a good thing, checked out with 4 minutes to go. Michigan State closed on a 7-0 run to pretty it up a little. UConn had a 20-point lead with the under 12, basically. So, yeah, you start cycling a ton of lineups. You get some weird stuff. But that was what was – I mean, both teams played all those guys, and all of them got fouls. It just didn't change.
Anyway, I got one more before I shut the fuck up, and the Rangers just got an empty netter.
I can't believe it, Jaden. I cannot believe this shitty hockey team is going to win a game.
I know, right? Dan had this quote about Jaden Ross that I'm looking at in Connor's recap. I've seen that movie streaming at home in my house. Now I'm hoping it hits theaters for all of you to see. Your thoughts on Ross tonight?
Yeah, by the way, go watch how he said that, because it took him about 30 seconds to explain the way he said it.
Yeah, I can picture that.
He looked great. What's wild to me is that his best offense seems to come from like the elbow and the break and the 3-point line, like the hardest place on the court to create offense. He was attacking the basket. I mean, he knocked down 2 threes, which was, you want to talk about bonus. And it looked great. So don't give him he had one kind of corner 3, and then he had one at the break. And I was like, of course that's the one that goes in, not the straight on or the corner one. It's the harder one. But yeah, he looked great. He looked assertive. This is a team that without Braylon Mullins is going to need somebody to be assertive kind of on the ball. And they want Solo Ball to do that more. You expect Silas to do it, and Alex can do it too. But if that's something Jaden Ross can bring them, with the minutes that are available now without Braylon Mullins, sign me up for that. And we'll see. It's going to be interesting to watch him and Jalen Stewart. It feels like it's felt like for 2 years, and it has been in the two exhibitions. Like one of them has a great game and the other doesn't. I don't know why that happens. It just might just be a thing. But it's going to be interesting to see if at least they get it from one of them. Every night they're going to be fine.
Congratulations on your baptism and full conversion into the Church of Caravan. I knew it was only a matter of time. Love you guys, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you, Bishop. I appreciate it. I was his original fan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God. Well, before we get into, we're going to go to UConn metrics next and Buzz. But before we do that, folks, hot dog, the UConn Husky season is almost here, and the good folks at Martin Roll Souls are here to keep you fueled so you can keep foot on gas throughout the year. Hot dogs, kielbasa's, sausages, deli meats, you name it. Not only can you grab what you need for the big game at their retail store at 45 Grove Street in New Britain, they'll even bring the meats to you and ship them across the country. That's Martin Roll Souls, the official sponsor of the Connecticut Basketball Spaces Wiener Weiner line. And speaking of wieners and Weinering, Econometrics, I appreciate you being a patient boy tonight. What do you have for us?
Of course. It's great to hear from everybody and appreciate you guys doing this as always. Just real quick, because I know we are approaching 1 a.m. here. I thought we looked active as always tonight. Defense was super physical. Looks like we've improved a lot. Seems like a couple of those guys who were kind of on the fringe last year have really made a jump, which was awesome to see. I know it's only an exhibition. We had a couple guys out, but it was like great to see the way that the new guys gelled together. I think Silas is a stud. I think Malachi is legit. We're a lot deeper this year, which I think is gonna go a long way for us. My question to you guys, and I apologize if you already covered it, I hopped on a little bit late here. What type of impact do you see Furphy having this year? Like, is he going to get legit playing time? I mean, he's a fun guy to root for.
I think he's going to be a guy that's a little hard to kind of find a defined role given what the rotation is. I don't want to go as far as to say he's going to be like a mop-up minutes kind of guy this year. It's going to depend on, how healthy this team stays. I think depending on what Jalen Stewart and Jaden Ross do this year, there may be some minutes for him there. We'll see. I am having a harder time just kind of what I've seen in the rotations thus far, seeing him have, significant minutes. But look, I mean, and when he was out there tonight, a great night shooting. But he ended up grabbing 3 rebounds tonight, had 2 assists, also had a turnover, and swiped himself a steal. Never mind. He did not have a steal tonight. I was reading the wrong stat line there. But, had a pretty good night defensively out there. Like, he's just another guy that, I think you sort of look at where this team is at. We've talked a lot about the depth, Obviously, I don't think Karoma's going to get a ton of playing time this year either. But if you need him, he's going to be there. And I think he's going to be able to give you quality. And it's going to be kind of the same thing with Furphy. Like, when and if they need him, he's a guy they're going to be able to go to. And I think he's going to give them quality. But, just kind of seeing what's around him right now, I'm having a harder time, seeing where he fits in is being a guy that would be like, more than a 5 to 8 minute a game guy, if that, right now.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with how I view him as a player. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's awesome too.
I think personality wise, he has it's all there for him to kind of be very much that kind of character, like a Cam Spencer kind of was. Jacob's kind of nuts, apparently, and I just think a program like this and a coach like Dan should always have this kind of a player on their roster. I have no doubt about it. I think he's going to be a significant contributor to this team next year. There would have to be some things, I think, right now that would have to happen for him to get more in the mix.
That's good to hear. I mean, given that, I know Reed's supposed to come back relatively soon, and obviously Mullins is going to be a little while. Like, do you think we are like a 7-man deep team, like 8-man getting playing time, or like how do you think it's going to shape out? Because I don't see Karoma getting a ton of playing time either, even though I thought he looked okay at times tonight.
Yeah, I think Karoma, there's a path for him to get playing time simply because he can rebound, and it's kind of a bit of a weakness for this team. And it was interesting, Matt Norlander with CBS, he went to Big East Media Day, and they did all these interviews that popped up in the feed for their show with all the coaches in the Big East. And he even remarked on this, how every one of them, and maybe this is an October thing, all these coaches are talking about going 10 deep. They all want to do it. Wanting to do it if you're Chris Holtman and wanting to do it if you're Dan Hurley, and actually doing it are two different things. So I'll believe a 10 deep rotation when I see it. But also, like, between the portal and the roster limits increasing for a major, the talent level of the major conference rosters is higher than it's ever been, because you can just poach everybody else who's a mid-major who's any good, and you have more scholarships to work with. So I think they might try and go 8 or 9. Early, they're probably going to go 10 or 11 just to feel it out through the 3 bye games. But I still tend to lean when the chips are down. We get late in the season. I think it's like an 8-person rotation, but that's because that's always been. Maybe it'll be different now, but I haven't seen it. And to your question about Jacob Furphy, I largely agree with Hopballs. Like, I'm really high on him. I think his passing touch, his spacing is exceptional. My concerns for him in terms of getting run come from, there are so many things they're trying to do with the guard position now. You got 2 new point guards, plus also without Braylon Mullins, who's a star freshman, who's kind of a combo guard, but so you're going to integrate him, but right now you don't have him. So you're trying to see what you can get out of Jaden Ross and Jalen Stewart at that spot. And that's just so many different things you're trying to figure out that it's just, and then there's Jacob Furphy. And like, Alec Millender actually has an easier path in a way to minutes. He's the 3rd point guard. He's the 3rd point guard, and if we can run 3 actions, we can get him an open 3. And if we do, he hit 43% last year. Jacob Furphy's kind of I'm really high on him, and the scouting on him is high, and I believe in it, but it's a little bit of an unknown what he can do at this level in terms of, because he has a deeper skill set by far than Alec Millender.
Right.
Well, that's what I said too about Furphy.
He's 18 years old.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob's a more he's a bigger, I'll be honest, probably more dynamic Cam Spencer kind of guy. Very similar game, but like, he's long as shit. He's 6'6", 6'7", right? And is going to be a phenomenal rebounder. He can kind of facilitate a little bit. Like, he's sort of a jack of all trade, master of none. He can get to the rack pretty well. He shoots it okay from 3. I think the biggest question for Jacob is going to be number 1, and I think this is just generally an adjustment that all first-year freshman players have to make, and that's getting used to the speed of the game at this level. Like, out of the young guys that they ran tonight, like, I felt like Jacob was noticeably the guy that was the easiest to speed up of the younger, less experienced players tonight. And I think he'll probably struggle with it a little bit more than most because, he wasn't playing at Montverde last year. So I think there's going to be, a little bit of that kind of an adjustment for him. And then I just, at the end of the day, look, I mean, it's just where does he fit here? Like, if Malachi Smith or, Silas go down, like, Alec Millender is going to be a guy that's going to get extended minutes at the point guard spot. Like, it makes sense. There's like a direct, A to B correlation with the events that have to happen for that to happen for him. Dwayne Karoma is going to get minutes at the 5, as long as Terrace Reed is down and, God forbid nothing happens to Eric Riba, right? That's more of like a direct soup to nuts kind of thing. When you get to the wing, that's where it gets nutty, man. I mean, you've got Alex, you've got Stewie, you've got Ross, You've got Mullins, who kind of plays the 3 and the 4. And then you've got Solo, where, I guess you could probably move Jacob into more of like a point forward type if you wanted to go a little bit bigger. But like Solo's kind of, clogging that lane up too. Like it's harder to find and identify that clear path for him right now. I mean, look, I guess what I would say is if we got in the position where Jacob was playing a lot, we'd have an awful lot of injuries that would be giving us a ton of anxiety. But I wouldn't feel as anxious about it because I feel like Jacob could do it serviceably year one, even with some hiccups. But for right now, I'm just not seeing what the path is for him, just the way that they seem and appear, we'll see how it goes, to be running their rotations right now.
Okay. So with a guy like that, you almost hope that like when he was recruited to UConn and when he came here, like Dan had kind of instilled in him that he's more of like a developmental player, that like year 2, year 3, even he's not looking at the portal. He's going to be getting significant minutes. Like I think Ross has a chance to this year. I mean, I thought Ross looked phenomenal tonight at times. I think the shooting is coming along a little bit. He was hitting shots tonight that like I hadn't seen him hit last year. So do you see him having more, obviously having a bigger role in the team this year?
I think Ross has to have a bigger role on the team this year. I mean, I think it's got to be one of Jalen or Jaden really have to hit this year for them to get to that national title level. Like, I think the floor on this team is very high. Look, if I was going to say, hey, they get hit with a bunch of injuries, they have a couple cold stretches here and there, I feel really confident saying this is a top 25 team at their absolute worst. I think they've just got so many offensive weapons. I think, gun to my head right now, I feel very confident about them as like a second weekend team that's contending for the Final Four. I said this earlier. I just never get out over my skis without, in terms of saying, hey, national title contender, until I get to see them and I get to see everybody else, But I think what the key to that is going to be Jalen or Jaden really stepping up, because look, Braylon is a great scorer, but like I think Mullins is probably the most freshman-looking freshman we've had in a long time, and I don't mean that as a slight. He is a flamethrower offensively, but he's not a big physical guy. He's a little wiry. Like, I am worried about some more physical wings being able to do some things with him. And like, he got blown by a little bit against BC. Like, I think, like most freshmen like him, he's going to have some challenges on the defensive end of things. Whereas Jalen and Jaden, defense is more the bread and butter, and you can become a little bit bigger and a little bit more physical and a little bit more dynamic with them on the court, and just sort of give, I think, a very different look than what you can give, with Braylon. So when you're matching up with a more physical team, like I don't know if we're going to be able to see him in time against Florida. It looks like that's going to be the timetable, is when he's going to be returning. But like, when we're playing Florida with a physical front court like they have, like Jalen and Jaden are going to have to be freaking huge. Like, they're going to be immense in that kind of a game. So, that's really kind of my hope for both of them, is that one or the other figures it out, hopefully both, but at the bare minimum to get to that national title level, I think just completely change the dynamic and trajectory of the team. They have to figure it out at minimum in consort together. Who's going to be the guy on a given night, even if it's inconsistent? It's got to be Jalen's got to be giving us tonight. Jaden gave us that night. Next game probably got to be Jalen that gives us that night, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting out of the two of them.
Awesome. No, that's good to hear. And I've been kind of thinking along the same lines as that. Like they've both shown flashes of that in the past. Jalen probably a little bit more than Roth in the past, but I think for us to really hit that next level and make it to the second weekend, I agree. Like one of them is gonna have to really step up. And I also agree to your point about Mullins, like a little bit more of like a true freshman. He's not like Steph, where he comes in and he's already built for Big East basketball player, right? And he's not like, I agree that he's just not necessarily like, he's a little bit wiry, right? He's a little bit more finesse game, which is just not necessarily Big East basketball. I think he's got a chance to make some huge strides, but coming in, like, do we even know like what the severity is of his injury? Do we know of his injury? Do we know what it is?
Not definitively. I think the public line, I think the safe line for recovery is going to be 5 to 6 weeks. Dan, the staff, commented the other day, and is a pretty quick healer when it comes to his injuries. And the way they sounded, kind of optimistic about it. So I'd probably put him in that 4 to 6 week time frame. I would be surprised if he starts to move around a little bit week 4, a little bit, maybe end of week 3, early week 4, see how it starts feeling. And I think it's just going to be a touch and feel kind of thing. And, hopefully you get to week 5, feels good, give him a little mixed time in some game. In a game, get him in for some burn, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, see how it feels, and then sort of gradually, roll him back out there. But I don't think this is like a serious season-ending thing or anything close to that. I don't think it's going to go. I think the 6 weeks is probably going to be the longest it's going to go.
One benefit to this shitty situation is that they get to eat 10 days of it up with the season hasn't started yet, right? So like one of the weeks doesn't matter. Whereas like what happened to Liam sucked. It was in the middle of the Big East season. And the reason this feels brutal too is because the schedule is so heavy front loaded with the big out of conference games, but there's plenty of bye games too. And I hope just for that kid's sake that, he can get back for some of those big games. That's why you come to a place like this to play in games like that, but they have to prioritize the long view, for him. I just wanted to touch on something real quick that Econometrics mentioned was because you asked about Jacob Murphy. I think like it's important to note he is 5 years younger than Alec Millender. Like there's a drastic age difference here, and this is a kid who's come around the world. So I'm still big on him long term, but my prediction for him this year is there will be a game, and it will be at Gamble, where he comes in and for 10 minutes he just lights the place up, and we are all going to absolutely lose our minds. We're going to be playing Men at Work. We're going to be making terrible Australian accents. We're talking about Vegemite. The student section can have inflatable kangaroos. And that might be the only time it happens. But we're going to see the flash at some point. I don't know when it is, but it's going to be really hard to predict that to be a thing that happens a lot because they're just so deep as a team. But when it happens, it's going to be a lot of fun because he's a really fun player to watch. With the energy and the intensity. And it might be New Haven on Monday. It might be somebody who stinks that he doesn't to. Because that's the sort of game that's going to very well lend itself to his talents. A game like tonight against Michigan State, honestly, I was impressed by him given the just step up in opponent that he was playing. And the good news about the front end of the schedule, the very beginning, is as loaded as the non-conference is. You got New Haven, Lowell, Columbia, and Bryant, and East Texas A&M. So I'm looking to those games for a guy like him to maybe get some burn, especially you think UConn's going to get. They didn't last year against East Texas A&M, but maybe this year they actually get a huge lead and see what they can get with him. But he's kind of the Pandora's box for this team. I just don't know that they're going to need to open the box that often.
Well, that's why I said about Furphy, like basically any minutes he's going to get this year are going to be protected. So he might as well just go out there and be confident. Like if you drive into the lane and you get your shit stuffed, it's not the end of the world. You learn from it. If you throw a bad pass, we'll learn from it. But like because he has like the talent, he has the strength where he could like end up working his way into the rotation. but I don't think he's comfortable enough yet. And it's a lot to learn and adjust to. He's also moving all across the world. So
Yeah, that's why it won't be a confidence issue, I don't think. You don't move your whole life 17,000 miles to come here and go half-ass in the lane on somebody.
yeah.
And I respect the kid. Like, we forget about what these kids and these families sacrifice a lot, but that kid, sacrifice is the wrong word, but like, you talk about a fish out of water. Like, he's not from Sydney. He's from like a weirdo part of Australia. Okay. And I think it's what really drew Dan Hurley and the staff to him.
Tasmania.
But, that's why everyone's rooting hard for him, because this kid is, I mean, the first time this kid sees, well, to be fair, Tasmania, it is near Antarctica, but, a New England winter will be an experience.
And Ryba, don't forget, like, he's been in the U.S. for 3 years, so like he's probably a little ahead on the adjustment. And
as I like to remind hot balls, he's really from Maryland. Like, calm down with the German thing.
Yeah. And the point on Mullins, I think with him, it's just, I think he has so much room left to, like, I think he can put so much more on his frame. Like, I think,
100%.
I think like Ray Allen is, like, we can't say he's going to be Ray Allen because Ray Allen's like an all-time great, but like, I think a Ray Allen comparison is pretty apt, and he's a guy who made a big sophomore jump, like Jordan Hawkins did too. Like,
I don't think a Rip Hamilton comparison is stupid.
Okay.
You know, I think he's wiry, multi-level scorer. You know, look, Jordan Hawkins didn't end up ever being an elite defender or anything like that, or like,
No,
you know,
I think
physical
Mullins
beast,
is better.
but like,
He's ahead of.
you know, he needed to get a little stronger and be that guy flying around the screens, learn the offense, and like, you know, not be a screen door on the submarine defensively, and did that. You know, and I think that's going to be a little bit of the learning curve for Braylon, and just getting, you know, a little bit more physical. You know, I wouldn't, you know, I don't want to get I hate, you know, speculating like who's going to do what in the off season anymore, because it's so Looney Tunes. But like, I don't think Mullins doing his second year is a nutty, insane thing. We'll see how, you know, the season goes for him, obviously offensively, because the projections there to certainly draft him high. But I am a guy that I guess wouldn't be shocked to see him back year two.
Have you guys seen
Donovan? I think you might know this. Isn't the 27 NBA draft the one that's supposed to be really terrible? The class? I mean, that's a case. That's a case for it. There's supposed to be a really bad draft class in the next couple of years, and I'm just trying to project out. I mean, let's see what year one looks like first.
Have you guys seen Donovan?
Yeah, well, what a shock. You know, he's coached by somebody who hasn't been indicted, and now he's playing minutes and is dominant.
Yep. He's got like a beard now, and he's all filled out. Like,
yeah, he's really going for he wants to look like he's 35 look. I respect it.
America's
he does.
favorite
He looks
son
like
is all
he
grown up.
does though. He looks like he's aged 10 years.
Been a hell of a week for the Portland Trailblazers. So,
the good old Jailblazers, they never fail.
Man, this is a new version of it, huh? That was wild. Yeah, no, he's clearly adapting well to year two. As is by the way, the Mullins thing, and Liam was a victim of this last year. Steph Castle's a freaking alien.
Yeah.
Like, that is broken our brains.
Yeah.
Like, what Braylon's going to look like this year and what Liam looked like, and shout out to Liam tonight, finally got to play for that godforsaken franchise and hit a 3, scored his first NBA points tonight. Liam last year and Braylon this year, like, this is what freshmen are supposed to look like. Steph Castle is a fucking alien, and we were blessed to have him on our planet for 12 months.
I'm still never going to forget the first time I watched Steph. That was at the open practice that I was at. I was there with you, Becca. I think I brought Abby.
He looks 30.
Oh, God, dude. And he gets bigger the closer you get to him. Like, just built like a brick shit house. And that Spurs team is going to be so much fun for the next 10 years.
I know. It's
good Lord. And now that Harper apparently gives a shit about playing basketball.
Get me out of Rutgers. I'm free.
He's got Steph Castle and a Harper that cares, and some guy, that Wembyana guy, he's okay.
The worst thing they did, but they wouldn't have known at the time, was the Fox trade. They didn't know. They didn't need De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I love people in the NBA talking about, wow, this Castle Wemby thing looks good. No shit. Like, fucking, you don't. Blue Jean, baby. Like, I can't believe it. Wow, you put two friggin' aliens together.
Do you guys think we'll ever see a lineup this year, over under, of 1 minute of seeing this lineup on the court this year? Silas, Jaden, Caravan, Karoma, Ryba.
I bet he'll roll it. He rolled weirder shit in the exhibition. It's only got to be East Texas A&M. Yeah, he'll roll at one point. If they foul like they have in these two games, he's going to have to. So,
because St. John's can do like a Zuby, Dylan Mitchell, and Bryce Hopkins lineup, and that's pretty big.
I actually expect them to run that quite a bit.
Yeah, because it's like three of their best players.
I think they should. I mean, my question is what Bryce looks like. I don't. Opals, I should have asked Aiden. Did you watch any of the St. John's exhibition?
Not a lot. I watched their first one, and they were a fucking mess.
You didn't watch the second one because it was on Big Ten Plus for $8.
Yeah, they're. I don't know, man. They look like a team that
It's 12:55. Who do we want to slander? Let's just do a quick one.
I know. I feel like it's the preseason, and it's Rick, and he's just such a shifty fuck. That's why I don't want to get carried away with it, but they look like dog shit offensively for a team that scored 94 points the other night. And, like, they didn't look good against the UMBC they played, or Towson. Towson. Like, they didn't look good. I mean, they are really out of sync offensively. And that is a team that's just, like, kind of getting by because they just have a boatload of talent. They look pretty good defensively. I think Rick's a terrific defensive coach, period. I think that part of it, when you have the pieces, is easier to put together. And they're long and they're athletic and they're very physical, And I think really good defenses start with rim protection, and Zuby Ejiofor is right there.
Yeah.
Offensively, they're a fucking fire. They're just really disjointed. They don't seem to have a lot of direction on the court. Like, I think they're going to be really easy to disrupt. They look a lot like, I know it sounds crazy, man. They just look a lot like, sniffing my own farts here, that they look a lot like Kansas did the last 2 years, and they look a lot like Texas did a couple years ago, when they just brought in gallons of talented guys, threw them on a roster, rolled them out there, and saw what happens. Now, like, I trust Rick's ability to maybe figure that out and put it together. But you're not scoring 95 points against Michigan if you stink.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not there. I could absolutely see them being a little bit of a clown car for the non-conference schedule, and them potentially looking really scary by Big East tournament time.
That is my exact prediction, in fact. They're going to drop a couple, and they have a very strong schedule. They're going to drop a couple of these games. And some of you listening are going to take shots at them. I will restrain myself, because I know once we get to seeing them down the road, I think they're going to be pretty good. So it might not look great at the front end, but their floor is so high with the talent level. It, like you said, like, they look like shit on offense because they have a million options, but also who's taking the shot late. Like,
there's just nobody directing traffic there. They turn the ball over a fuck ton. They're going to really suffer from point guard play this year. Period.
They also still didn't shoot great versus Michigan from three.
No, that one blew my mind, because
they don't create good shots for themselves. Like, their offense is not pretty. And I'll be blunt, a lot of these guys are really hunting for their own shit, which is what you don't want to see.
Jason Sanan is hunting for his own. Jordan Sanan.
Imagine that. Oh, imagine that. But, like, it'd be preposterous to say that that you're worried about it. Man, I don't know. I feel better about where we're at right now than where they're at, but I've told you I think the range of outcomes for St. John's is so wide, and it's a lot wider than people are kind of giving it credit for. I wouldn't be surprised if St. John's ended up being a 6 seed and stomping the ever living piss out of the entire bottom of a bracket.
Yes,
And, and then maybe even doing something heinous to a 1 seed to get to a Final Four.
I'm thinking of the Kentucky 2014 team.
Yeah, very much. Not as younger, not nearly as talented as that team was. I mean, that had so many NBA lottery guys on it, but Harrison twins, the whole 9 yards. But same kind of general thing, man. I would not want to see them in an 8-9 if we were a 1 kind of thing. But I also see there being a real possibility there, 20 to 40, and they're gonna make you want to pull your hair out. I totally wouldn't be surprised if they'd come in and beat us by 10 in our own place, and then go back to Villanova or Georgetown and fucking vomit all over themselves and just lose a game or 2 in a row that they shouldn't. I think that's on the table too. I also think their killing machine is on the table as much as a potential, I think, to be one of the 4 or 5 most disappointing teams in the country. I put them sort of right there with BYU as another team. I've just right there on the 2 of them, kind of fixated, where I think they could be teams that I can see a world. Man, I'll tell you, that Debanza thing the other day pissed me off.
Go off.
I'm excited for the BYU game.
Kind of get under old man hot balls' skin. But my game, what the fuck? If I was on his team or his coach, I'd be like, the fuck is wrong with you? My game. Me. Myself, I.
If only one of us said that would be how that game was handled. I have my tickets. I'm going. I'm excited.
I'm going.
I'll be there.
But good Lord, man, it's you start to see why all these teams laid off. But yeah, dude. I mean, that's another team I'm just a little skeptical of. I will tell you, Kentucky looked great the other day.
They did.
Kentucky looked great.
I know I'm the guy that took a shot at the roster for the price they're paying for it reportedly, but it's a hell of a roster, and they looked very good the other night against the team I would love you to slander in public.
Kansas looked pretty good too.
I'm so done on the Purdue thing. I'm just so tired.
They played a team with really high-end athletes, and they looked like they couldn't handle it.
Again, and I know it's a preseason game. I get all this shit, and people throw rotations out. Purdue wasn't throwing weird rotations out. They weren't. They were getting beat the fuck up everywhere, all over the backcourt.
I just played 32 minutes.
Beat the fuck up everywhere. I get it, they've got a lot of guys coming back. I think Matt Painter's a terrific coach, and nothing bad to say about them. I like that program. I have immense respect for them. But, it's getting to the point where I don't know if I've ever seen, a more concerted effort on the part of a lot of the mainstream college basketball media to, make a program a thing. Ever. And honest to God, they didn't do this with Duke in the 80s and early 90s. Duke were branded as huge choke artists. They did not get treated like...
Yes, correct.
They did not get treated with Tiffany... the way the media treats Duke now, that is not fucking close to how they were treated on their come up there in the 80s. I mean, they went to 4 Final Fours and shit all over themselves, and then...
Yeah.
And then the ultimate shit Sunday against UNLV. I mean, an national title game. And it was a little skeptical. The coverage around Christian Laettner was very similar to the coverage around Dan last year. Mm-hmm. And obviously that changed in hindsight and history, and as they caught on and really figured things out, they became, we had Dookie V and everything on ESPN, but like that was I never remember that being like that. They were never like this with Michigan State, right? They were never like this with a lot of programs on the come up. And I've just never seen a group of people that are so desperate to try to make a program be a thing in the way and manner that they do with Purdue, who I think will be a good team this year. They're top 15 team, maybe top 10 team. I think they got a shot at the Final Four. They got some good pieces. But we talked about this last time. We talk about this all the time. They're just certain groups of players that you get when they come through. North Carolina just went through it, with Baycott and all those guys, where there's just certain things about that group that institutionally, their flaws are kind of baked into what the DNA of that group of players is. And it's just tough to coach it out of it. It's tough to put pieces around it to complement it the right way. It could be us defensively. I'm totally willing. I wouldn't get upset or irate if somebody said that about us with this particular group of players, because they got a lot to prove still.
Yeah.
But with Purdue, that's where I'm at. I've just seen the same thing. And the team that took them the deepest in 2024 before we got them in the final was Tennessee, another really big physical team.
Crazy athletic,
time
at every
after
position.
time after time. I don't, and now I'm watching it in another preseason game where everybody on Kentucky looks like men, and everybody in Purdue looks like they mow their mom and dad's lawn on the farm.
Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith each played 31 minutes. They combined were 6 for 24 from the field, 2 for 11 from 3, had 5 assists as a pair and 3 turnovers. Okay. I think I'm less out on them than you are. I mean, you're not really out on them. Like, I know everyone likes Matt Painter. I think he's a great coach, but and we're jaded because we saw what Steph Castle did to him. It goes back to my point that he is
the more perspective there is totally fair criticism.
I know what Braden Smith does statistically, and I'm not saying he's like a bad player, but then when I see Braden Smith play like really high end SEC level long guards, he can't fucking do it. And when you get in the second weekend, guess who's there?
Yeah.
So I think they're a really, really good team. And they went and played at Kentucky. I give them credit for doing that, honestly. But we'll see. I'm a little trust but verify on the Purdue thing, especially when I see teams like Houston and Florida, the team they played Kentucky. Tennessee's going to be really good, and Michigan's got another giant guy in the middle, and the size of Texas Tech. Those teams, I'm not even getting to UConn yet. Who has
Texas Tech sleepy, man.
Those teams, if that's who you're running into at the end, and it's a bad matchup.
Who did UNC just scrimmage? Or
BYU.
BYU. They lost by 2.
Yeah. They went out to Salt Lake. Give them credit.
I think they're actually going to surprise some people.
Yeah, my expectations couldn't be lower. So they'll probably be fine. Look, they're in that league. They fall out of bed. They should be top 4.
Well, they actually got some big guys on their team again. They haven't had any for a couple of years.
It's nice of Hubert to remember that you're allowed to have those. So.
And Kansas.
He'll probably get some more NIL money because I don't know if you've seen how the football side's doing, but I don't think they're going to get as much next year.
Yeah. And Kansas looked good against Louisville.
Yeah, the Darren Peterson's going to be a whale of an experience in person to see him. That kid is like the Debanza thing has kind of sucked the oxygen out of the room. Peterson looks unbelievable. I mean, are we sure Debanza's the number 1 pick? Peterson, I mean, you want to talk about the biggest test this UConn team's going to have? That might be it in that building.
Yeah.
The rest of the supporting cast isn't nearly what Florida's got, but holy shit, that kid is a star.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see him. I just think Kansas pieces fit together better this year.
Yeah, and no one's talking about him. It's great.
They're going to be a tough guard.
Yeah, they fit together a lot better. I love Florida's front court. I think their question's going to be more in the back court. Like I think their range of outcomes could be us in 2024. If Boogie Fland hits, man, Clayton's a killer. It's just he's that kind of guy. It's just like so impossible to replace as a player because it's not just the clutch shots and it's the disposition and the attitude. Like he was just like a lot of Andre Jackson, Cam Spencer, just like force of personality as much as he was anything on that team. But Flan's a way more. They're not even the same zip code athletically in terms of like range of skill set. And I think if Boogie can integrate into Florida well, and they can solve some depth issues off the bench. Oh man.
I like Ingram a little more than Lee. I just think the transfer up for Lee is going to be he's going to get unfair comparisons to Clayton, and that's not what he is. I think he's fine, but you're rolling Howe, Condon, and Chinhilu up front. I mean, good fucking luck. That is a horrifying front court.
Yeah, I think they've got.
Backcourt isn't great. Throw it at the rim. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I've just gotten to a point where I just trust Houston so much.
Yeah,
I just trust them so much. Like they're gonna have to figure out scoring again this year. They have to figure their scoring shit out every year. We say this every single fucking. Well, I don't know if they're gonna score enough points, and they
lose the title game because they can't figure out a possession. It's the fucking. Of course, that's what happened. It was
So like I feel like the most comfortable putting them in the national title category because I feel like they have the fewest amount of questions to answer.
Yeah.
And the questions they have to answer are the ones they just repeatedly answer every single year.
I think.
and find a way to figure out. And who knows? Maybe, I don't know. This year is different.
What's their worst case scenario? They go
25-5,
and they're in the Sweet 16. I mean,
but they lost a lot from last year.
They did, and they're going to be. We joke about it with freaking Shaka and the transfer shit, but like Houston is really leaning into this freshman class. That's a team. They can look like. I'm going to treat them a little like St. John's. If they look like shit in the first month, I'm like almost not going to pay attention to it because I trust that the coach is going to figure out. I like their pieces better than St. John's. But yeah, early on, this might look a little sideways. Houston, I still think Kelvin Sampson absolutely is going to figure it out.
Yeah, they're still like, I think they have extremely high floor, but I don't know. I'm just not as sold.
Yeah, because he's got to see if we got to see 4 of these freshmen if they play defense. They're going to eventually. They're going to get there. Will they at the beginning? Maybe not, but like there's still going to be a lock top 20 defense, I think.
Yeah, I think Alabama's going to disappoint. They're somehow worse defensively than they were the last couple of years. I mean, they're going to score 106 points a game. I swear to God, and they're just do not. Oh, I mean, they look so bad defensively the other night.
They're weird because they don't return a lot of their scoring, and they actually didn't do a lot in the portal either.
Yeah.
It was a little surprising, to be honest. I kind of like the kid they got out of Florida State as a reclamation project, as like a Terrace Reed kind of thing. But I was surprised I'm surprised they didn't do more in the portal. I don't know if that's a house thing. I don't know if that's a throwing the money at football thing, but that did catch me a little off guard because they've been so good the last few years. It kind of feels like they're almost setting up a step back, but they're going to score 105 points a night and be a must watch.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see kind of how the Louisville experiment comes together. I think they're another range of outcomes team. I love the pieces they have. I think theoretically it should fit together, but another team, a lot of new pieces. I'm not going to say it. I promise I'll not say it this year.
Yes, you will. It's hard. The Louisville. The thing. My struggle is, I mean, I watched Ryan Conwell and Isaiah and Isaac McNeely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big.
Wow.
They'll be good, but like those are the two of the big pieces they brought in. But there's another team that doesn't return a lot of minutes and didn't do a lot in the portal, and they're coming to Gamble Pavilion,
I don't want to say it.
and you cannot wait.
I'm not going to say it this year.
Pete, LeBron's
This year I'll lay off. I'll not do it. I will not suffer the indignity anymore.
How about Monday night?
I'm filing for divorce.
Oh, Monday night, your mortgage on Arizona to beat Florida. Your mortgage.
What if they do, though? You know how bad that's going to be for everybody?
That will be the only thing we talk about in the space. Yeah, UConn beat New Haven by 50. Let's get into the fact that Hot Balls has already mortgaged his Final Four future on Arizona because they beat Florida tonight.
You never know.
That is the best game of opening night, by the way.
I thought Arkansas looked pretty fun, too, the other night. I don't know what the fuck that's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be complete.
They might be good.
I don't know what that's going to be exactly, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to be like kind of what Kentucky was last year, which is just an absolute blast of an abomination to watch play basketball. They're going to be the meth lab of the SEC. You just never know what's going to come popping out of the trailer, and could be very sedate, easy to tame. Or it could be buckle up Buttercup. It could be full Trevor and his tighty whities. Shotguns blazing. I am fascinated to see what Arkansas is this year. And I'm going to tell you, maybe I'll catch a little heat on this. I am inching towards the hot take that Creighton may have a higher floor than St. John's. They looked great last week.
Haven't they looked good in the 2 scrimmages?
Yes.
It feels hot takey, but you're saying Creighton, you're not saying Butler.
I know, but I think a lot of people, I think they had a really quietly good portal season where they kind of did what we did with Cam, which is they looked at the Big Ten and they looked at the Big 12 and they kind of found these guys that were starters at these schools that had track record in production and kind of weren't all conference guys yet that are older. I'd rather see them doing that than going to the Mountain West and picking up Stephen Ashworth. I feel I don't know if they have a lights out dude on that team, but I don't really think they've got a lousy player on the roster.
I'm pretty sure Greg McDermott's most successful teams were without Ryan Kalkbrenner and Stephen Ashworth. So
that will be the fun thing if you're correct. See, once they got rid of Kalkbrenner, the team got good.
That's going to be that'll be the bit.
Well, Greg McDermott's also a good coach.
Yes, that too. But you know who else had a good portal season? Hot Balls. You're going to be. I don't care. I'm in on this UCLA team.
I knew you would be.
I was
going to ask you.
Donovan Dent. Everybody seems to have forgotten how good that kid was at New Mexico. Sky Clark. I'm in on them. I'm in on UCLA as a top 15 team. I won't say top 10. I want to, but that feels aggressive. I think UCLA is going to be really good this year. Great coaching, goes without saying.
I'm going to call you guys out in 4 weeks when UCLA and Arizona return to their normal form.
Yeah, when UCLA loses to West Georgia in their first year in Division I, that's about when. Monday, November 10th. It'll be after we do the Columbia space, I believe. That'll be the one. But then they play Arizona later that week. Arizona and UCLA playing at the Crypt, not Crypto. They play at the Intuit Dome, sponsored by Aspiration. So that'll be fun to watch. That's
in a non-conference game. Yes. How fucking weird is that?
Non-conference, non-home and home.
Wait, Hot Balls, do you think Arizona's going to beat Florida?
I don't know.
No, that was me. That feels like a thing that will happen.
Oh.
They're at Florida. What is it? It's at Florida, though, right?
No, it's a neutral. I think it's in Vegas.
Is it?
Let me check. I believe that's a TNT friggin'
You sure? I think they're at Florida.
No, it's
No. It's in Vegas. It's opening night in Vegas. It is on TNT at 7. So it's at the same time as UConn New Haven. Yeah, it's on TNT Monday night. Florida, Arizona, and Vegas. 4 p.m. local tip. Sick.
I will say this is pretty dastardly of Florida to do this, and beautifully condescending. Their non-con schedule, they open up with Arizona, but they play North Florida. They also have Florida State, Miami, TCU on their non-con. I love it.
I love that you refer to it as beautifully condescending.
It is. Put those ACC Big 12 teams on there.
Yeah, the other game Monday night at T-Mobile Arena, the 9:30 game, Villanova BYU. It could be anything. It could be anything. Anything could occur in that game. I will not wager on that game. That game terrifies me.
That could be interesting. It could be the night we see the first chinks in BYU's armor.
Caden Lewis outplays Adrian Depensa. It could happen.
Oh, that'd be awesome. God willing.
I gotta say, this is the most excited I've been for our non-con in a very long time. Part of it is the BYU game, so I'll be at the Air Force football, UConn Air Force at home. Be at the football game at noon, then driving back up to Boston for the BYU game, and I could not be more excited. The one thing I will leave everybody with is let's pack the rent this Saturday. You guys deserve it. Joe Fignano is the second coming of Jesus Christ, in my opinion, and I think he's going to break Orlovsky's record this year, and I can't wait.
He's QB1. I've been saying it for years.
Jared Thomas came in here and then scrammed out of here. He doesn't want to be held accountable.
The most disgusting thing about Monday is, there's some disgusting things about opening day. There are 6 games that tip off before 2 p.m. We get Queens Winthrop at 8 a.m. I will be there with fucking bells on.
Queens and Winthrop, why would you do that to yourself?
Our friends at the Field of 68 have put together a disgusting event. Queens and Winthrop are playing at Rock Hill, so I believe that's Winthrop at 8 a.m. And then Bradley St. Bonaventure are the second game at 11 a.m.
Doster should be in jail for that 8 a.m. game.
And then I kind of like
totally
this one. Murray State, Nebraska, Omaha at 1:30 p.m. 2 good mid-majors. Of course, it's at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We sent Murray State, Nebraska, Omaha to South Dakota.
They can do the Dakotas, but they're too cowardly to do the Great Alaska Shootout.
That's right. It'll never happen. Sorry. It's never coming back.
Someday I'll get what I want. All right. I am tired. Are you tired?
Yeah, I got to be up in 5 hours, so yeah, might as well.
Well, there you go. You wanted to be done in 1.
It's on me. It's my fault.
Here you are, prattling away.
I'm just practicing for the season ahead. It's going to be like this for the next 6 months, so buckle up, everyone.
I've already
It's all downhill from here, you clowns. All right, so we will be back Monday night. I don't know. We might get bored. Might get a little sauced. Decide to do something weird. Saturday, Sunday night, you never know. Most likely we'll be back Monday.
Didn't do a Big East preview yet, so.
We have not done the Big East preview, man. Maybe we should do the Big East preview. Those who do it closer to the Big East season.
That's true.
We could always do it this weekend.
We're live producing on air. This is great. 2 hours.
Nobody here is doing anything this weekend. That's important. They all know that deep down.
It's important, no, but I am doing things.
I'm not really doing anything. I don't think. So I don't know.
You're buying shirts.
I do. I do need to get some shirts.
I was going to offer you UConn hockey tickets, and I didn't even mention it because you told me about you buying shirts with your wife, and it sounded like when Marge takes Bart shopping.
Yeah, well, kind of. Because you see, I'm a baseball guy, so I'm a big 3/4 sleeve guy, so whenever I wear my collared shirts, I always have my sleeves rolled up, like I'm a politician that's like one of the guys, one of the people. And you do that, and you sit at a desk as much as I do, and your elbows are rubbing around on the fabric. You develop a lot of holes. And within the span of 3.5 weeks, I have chewed holes in 4 separate shirts that I wear very frequently, and it's getting bad, man.
She has to take you shopping. You're incapable of.
Have you seen the dog pee pullover? If you look at the elbow area, it's a little white.
God,
it's a little worn. Yeah, what can I say? I take a lot of fabric to cover.
Make sure you get that out for Monday. Got to break that out of the closet.
It never wears out anywhere it should, you know what I mean? But it wears on the bows. So, maybe I'll wear my new wardrobe out instead of the same thing I've been wearing for 5 years. Yeah, I don't care. I look like a fat college ragamuffin. I don't give a shit. I'm not out here trying to impress anybody.
Good.
I am who I am. I'm a fashion maven in my own eyes.
I respect it.
I'm Versace.
Sure.
So, we're going to go out and we're going to do a little shopping. Maybe I'll get like a salmon shirt. Get some nice plaid patterns. And go like a lumberjack shirt. I could pull that off.
Oh, God.
There's a lot. So it's like, I told my wife, I was like, I got to go shopping for some shirts.
Sounds
she
like
didn't say like, yeah, I need to come with you. She's like, oh yeah, well, I got some things in Manchester too.
I'm going to say it sounds like the perfect opportunity to hit up Cabela's and pack the rent on Saturday.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know if I could talk my wife into going to UConn football game. She won't go to the basketball games with me half the time. But, so, we'll be in the area, and maybe I will stop in. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure out. Maybe I'll go to the hockey game, too. I don't know. Maybe I'll sit down in the bottom bowl with the rest of the Regal Beagles down there.
I will say, seeing the look on my father's face, UConn alum, played baseball there, seeing the look on his face as we rolled BC in Alumni Stadium, one of the greatest days of my life.
That was fun.
Glad you gave an aging man a wish. It's all we have in this world after a while.
Yeah, they really used that momentum last week. I'm not even going to go there. That was fun, though.
Worst designed stadium I've ever been in. I got lost twice.
It's Rice Stadium. Why does Rice play Texas? A Super Bowl was played in that stadium.
That blows my brains out, by the way.
A Super Bowl
was played there? Was it 5 or 6?
Yeah, it was Vikings Dolphins.
6. That's Super Bowl 6, I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh, you know what I might be? Hold on.
It was I know Tulane hosted one. That was a weird one. Then obviously Sun Devil Stadium, which we drove by in Tempe.
Which is like
the Cowboys and the Steelers at 30. I know
it was Super Bowl 8 was played in at Rice Stadium.
Wow. They really packed them in this weekend too. I was pretty shocked to see how few people were there. That was impressive, actually. It's like the empty arena game. I was just expecting Mankind to come and hit rock with a bag of popcorn. Pin him with a forklift. While the game's going on. That was tough. It's tough to play in empty stadiums. It's not fun. It's weird.
We're not going to have that problem for a long time, starting on Monday.
We will not. It's that time yet again. Another season. Who knows? Maybe we end this season with another rendition, a stirring rendition of One Shining Ship Post.
Oh, that's all I want.
That's all anybody wants. So, we start on Monday, folks. Looking forward to bringing you all along with the journey with us and the many side quests that we will be exploring this year as well with our good friends, our partners, Store Central. Another season of shenanigans. All right. Well, thank you to sponsor Mark Rosold. What's that? What do you want?
I can't believe they're letting us do this again.
Again. one more go around. Well, not one more. It's just another go around. I'm gonna have anything else to do in the winter. All right. Go to bed, everybody. We will see you Monday night. We may see you before that if we're feeling froggy. But in the meantime, folks, it's UConn basketball season. Get hype. Also, keep in touch with yourselves. Good night, everybody.